director, you could be the senior underwriter, in this investment bank. You could be asked to, they could hand you something like this, which would be a deck. That would give you all the information that you need to be able to put the inputs into the model to conduct the valuation analysis. And then, or maybe we're doing the presentation in a working committee. We're working on these things in a working committee. And we're all working together to solve this thing and do the valuation together. Or we have new personnel, senior level managers, or a CFO, or a new board member that wants to get up to speed, to audit the way that we underwrite transactions and deals. So they could be in the meeting here, and you could be walking them through the valuation process. Okay, so that's why it's really important that you pull out your calculators and be engaged in the calculation process. And it also reinforces the methodology in your brain so that you can memorize it and know how to apply it. So we're going to do the investment banking, on the real estate deal. We were hired as East Hill Secured, a real estate investment bank, to work with Alexandria, which is a big REIT that owns basically Mission Bay in San Francisco, to basically evaluate a project that they're looking at it, and they asked us to basically do the underwriting and the investment analysis. So that's what we're going to do. So what do we need to do first when we're conducting the investment analysis? What's the first step in the valuation? How many valuation methods are we going to apply here? Because I want to run multiple methodologies on the valuations. I don't want to rely on just one method. If I'm able to calculate 4 different valuation methods and they all come in fairly close to each other, then that just verifies the valuation. Okay. So what are the 4 valuation methods that we have? We can apply the perpetuity. So let's do that right now. Let's do the perpetuity. What do we need first to be able to calculate the perpetuity? What do we need to do? We need to calculate the future cash flow. What cash flow? Last year, this year, or next year? What? When we're doing the valuations, we can use next year. Okay, so how do we calculate? Don't we already have the net operating income? And when you're conducting investment analysis for real estate projects, you're using net operating income. You're not using EBIT or EBITDA or earnings. You're using net operating income. Okay. So do we have net operating income? Yeah. What was net operating income for last year? How much? Okay, 125 million. This is the CFO and cash flow for T equals 0. All right, and what do we have to do to the cash flow to get next year? What do we have to do with the cash flow to get next year?
To grow it out one more?
We have to grow it out. And what rate do we grow it out at?
The T plus 6, so 1%, or is it the terminal rate? So it's still 1%.
No, don't get confused. I mean, I've already provided you with the growth rates and the cash flows for the individual years. So what growth rate do you apply to get the next year's cash flow?
20%.
Well, this is on the, this is number B. This is that you have to be using the real estate example.
T plus 6, 1%?
No, I give you the growth rates and the cash flows. I've already, in the stock market analysis that you're going to be doing coming up, you're going to have to project the cash flow growth rates. I'm giving you the cash flow growth rates. So what's the cash flow growth rate for the first year?
10%.
It's 10%. So what do I multiply 125 by?
1.1.
1.1. What does that give us?
137 or 138.
138 million. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have the first year cash flow. We have next year's cash flow. So if I want to apply the perpetuity model, what do I do next?
Don't we have to keep going?
Yeah, another year.
No. That's this kind of cash flow. I want to use perpetuity to do the first valuation. So what do I do now? Now that I got the cash flow, what do I do with next year's cash flow to get the perpetuity valuation?
Just divide it by 1.
What is it?
You divide it.
Yeah, go ahead, by what?
1.1.
Do I use 1.1 or what do I
I
use?
use 1.12.
Is it 1.12? I mean, what's my discount rate?
12%.
It's 12%, so what do I divide it by?
12%.
Okay. So what's 138 million divided by 1.2? Or 0.12, sorry. And everybody should be calculating this. Everybody should have their calculator
Divided
out.
by.
Everybody should either have their calculator out or the computer out and doing the programming, because it'll come in handy when you do the valuations for the stock valuations at the end. So what's the calculation? What's 138 million divided by 0.12?
1,150 million.
1,150.
50.
Okay.
Confirm.
Excellent. So I got the first one. So how do we do Gordon Growth? I already got the 138 million, so I already know the cash flow for next year. Now what do I do?
Have use the constant.
Now, just walk me through the equation.
Divided by the expected return
Yeah, which
minus
is
12%
0.12
minus
minus
0.02.
0.02,
Yeah.
right? Like going into growth rate. And that comes out to be 0.1. So what is the valuation using Gordon Growth?
1,380 million.
Yep. Okay. So now I got the second method, or second model. Multiple's gonna be a little bit more complex, but we'll be able to do it. Okay. So do we already have the cash flow for next year?
yeah.
Yep. We already have 138 million. And what do I multiply that by? When I'm using the multiple approach, what do I multiply it by?
Oh, the multiple.
The multiple, right? And that's gonna give you the value using the multiple approach. Now give me some multiples that I can use. Show me the calculations. What did you say?
The P.
Okay, so, but I don't have price here, do I have the cost of construction?
Yeah.
Could I use the cost of construction as a proxy for price?
Mhm.
Yep. And how much is it?
1.25 billion.
1,250, and what's the cash flow for last year? What was the cash flow last year?
125.
It was 125. So let's just use that first to manufacture a multiple. And what's the multiple? So it's, what's 1250 divided by 125?
Okay.
10. So 10 times, all right. And then what I like to do is let's use next year's cash flows. We know that that's 138. So what's 1250 divided by 138?
9.
What is it?
9.
9 times? Okay, excellent. So now we got a couple multiples, right? What are a couple other ways that we can calculate multiples? Give me the other two methods. Again, I'm trying to verify the multiples now, so I can get to the valuation. So what are the other methods of calculating the multiples?
Yeah, 1 over I.
Okay, 1 over I, and what's the, what is it? What are we gonna use for I? What do we use for,
0.12.
what do we use for the discount rate? What is it?
0.12.
0.12. So what's the multiple? What is it?
1 over 0.12.
Yeah, 1 divided by 0.12.
8.3.
So basically 8 times, okay? And what's the other method that I can use to calculate a multiple?
Gordon Growth.
I can use the Gordon Growth. And that's what?
0.12 minus 0.02, or 1 over 0.12 over.
Isn't it 0.1?
Yeah, it's 1 over 0.1.
And what's that, 10?
Yeah.
So 10 times. So how many multiples do I have now?
4.
I got 4 multiples. If I was gonna do sensitivity analysis, using 3 multiples, what would be the intervals? What would be the multiples?
8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I'd probably use 10, 9, and 8. I wanted to calculate the valuation and doing sensitivity analysis. But we know, don't we know, that the multiple, that this multiple right here, 8 times the 138, is going to give us the perpetuity, same thing. And the 10 times the 138 is going to give us the Gordon growth. Basically the same thing, but by converting to multiples, it gives you an idea of the multiplier, the multiple. How many times, what are we paying, what's the value of the property based on the multiple, the cash flow multiple?
8 to 10 times more.
Yeah, it's between 8 and 10, okay? And because we did it based off of the price and based off the 2 cash flows from last year and this year, and they're so close here, we know that we're using the right multiples. So we're getting verification, okay? So which one do you want to use for evaluation purposes? 10, 9, or 8? It's up to you to decide. Because we're just going to do a point estimate here. On the projects that you're using at the end of the semester, you're going to be doing the ranges and the sensitivities, but you're going to pick one scenario. And which one do you want to use? 8, 9, or 10?
So, yeah.
What?
9.
9? Okay. So 9 times. So what's 9 times 138?
1250.
Okay. So now we got the multiple approach.
1,240.
What is it?
1,242.
Just round up or down. You know the rounding conventions? If it's 5 or more, you round up. If it's less than 5, you round down. Okay, so now we have the 3 methods. What's the next method? What's the next method? We're going to do what? DCF. Walk me through this kind of cash flow. How do we do this? And what's the objective? What are we trying to calculate with discounted cash flow? Present value. Excellent. Nice job. Okay, so walk me through. What do we need to do?
Extend our cash flows.
Yep. So we're gonna do, how many cash flows do we have?
6.
Let's wait on the 6th one. Okay. Let's wait until we get there. And then what do? Do we know the first year's cash flow?
Yeah. 138.
Yeah, 138. Okay. And then what else? What do we do now? What do we do now?
Isn't it 1.112 in the denominator?
Right here?
And that's the first power.
Okay, walk me through it.
The second one, 1.112 to the second. Third one, 1.12 to the third. And to the fourth. And
What are these called?
just kind of.
Discount factors. Okay, excellent. Now let's do the cash flows. So I have the first year cash flow. Now what do I do?
You're gonna grow it out.
Yeah, by how much?
8%.
Okay, and what do we get? What's 138 times 1.08?
148.5.
What?
148.5.
Yeah, I just round up.
Oh,
150.
150.
Isn't it 149?
149.
149.
Yep. I don't want to get into the decimal points. Okay, now what do we do?
Grow it out.
By how much?
145.
Okay. And what's 1.05 times 149?
156.
Okay, 156. And then what do we do?
Grow it out by 1.02.
Okay, excellent. 1.02. And what's 156 times 1.02?
159.
159. Okay. And then what do we do?
Grow out by 1.02 again.
Okay. 1.02. And what's 159 times 1.02?
162.
Okay. 162. Okay. And then what do we do?
Grow it out by 1%.
Okay, grow it out one more time.
Wait, did you say you wanted to wait on the 6?
No, we're doing it right now. and then we're gonna grow it out one more time. And what do we get?
164.
164, okay, what are we trying to do here? Why do we grow it out one more year?
Terminal value.
Terminal
Yeah, to
value.
get the terminal value. Okay. All right, so now how do we calculate the terminal value?
It's like the interest rate minus the growth rate.
Yeah, but what do we use?
Oh,
Take forward and grow.
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna use work and growth, but what do we use?
The present value.
What's the I minus G? What do we use? It's in here. It's in the assumptions. I laid it out for you. What?
The growth.
Yeah, okay, what growth rate?
Terminal,
The
1%.
terminal growth rate. And how much is that?
1%.
Okay, minus 0.01. Great, okay, and then? It's in the assumptions.
And then 0.14 is the
Yeah, you're gonna use the terminal discount. And why did we add 200 basis points on top of the going in discount rate? To get the terminal discount rate, why did I add 200 basis points?
Or inflation or
Inflation, what else? Is the property gonna be older in 6 years?
Yeah.
yeah.
Could the political, economic environment change in 6 years that could impact the property negatively?
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't you want to reflect that additional risk by adding 200 basis points on top of the going in? Yes, okay. So what is 0.13? What's that, 164 divided by 0.13?
1,262.
Confirm.
1262,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. And what does that give us?
Terminal value.
Terminal value, what do we do with the terminal value?
Add it back to
That's
last
what last year.
Okay, so we add it to the 162, right? So what's 1262 plus 162?
1,400
1,400 and what?
24.
24. Okay, excellent. So what's 1,000, we have to do the discount factors. So what is 1.12 to the fifth power?
1.76.
1.8?
Yeah.
And then what is 1.12 to the fourth power?
1.6.
What is it? 1.6? And then what's 0.12 to the cubed?
1.4.
0.4, and then what is 1.12 squared?
1.3.
1.3,
Mhm.
and then we have 1.12. Excellent. So what is 1424 divided by 1.8? $791. And what is 159 divided by 1.6?
99.
99. And what is 156 divided by 1.4?
111.
And what is 149 divided by 1.3?
115.
Thank you. And what is 138 divided by 1.12?
123.
23, and what's 123 plus 115 plus 111 plus 99 plus 791?
1,230.
230?
1239.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1239, great, thank you. Okay, so we got basically a PV equal to 1239, okay, now what do we do?
Subtract that from our cost of development.
And the cost is how much?
1.25 billion.
1,250 million?
Billion.
Million. It's 1,250,000,000.
Oh, yeah, yes.
So what are we gonna calculate now?
MPV.
Net present value. All right, and what is the net present value? Is it positive or negative? By how much?
11 million.
How much?
11 million.
11 million?
Yeah,
Is that right?
that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative, okay. In the first iteration,
Reject.
oops, first iteration number one, do we accept or reject it?
Reject.
Talk to my client.
I'm sorry, Professor, is that 123 million? I
That's,
assume.
what is it? Yeah, 123. Do I have the math right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So in the first iteration, our recommendation is to reject the project. Then I talked to my client, and they really want this project. So what do we do in the second iteration?
Ask for a price reduction and the
Yeah.
amount of
Yeah, you got it. So in the second iteration, we ask for a price reduction. In what amount?
the price of MDP.
11 million.
Yeah, in the amount of the negative MPV of 1,250,000. And if we can get that price reduction, what's the MPV become?
0.
Equals 0, and do we accept or reject?
You would accept.
We would accept it. Okay. So I went back to the seller of the land, and I went back to the developer, to the contractors, to the subcontractors, to the utility, to the materials providers. I went back to all those people, and I tried to see if I could get a price or a cost reduction to reduce the development costs associated with the project, but I couldn't get the price reduction, okay? So what do I have to do now? And then the client, I told the client this, and they said, we really want this project. So I said, okay, I'll take a look at it. So what would be iteration number 3?
Reassess your assumptions.
Yeah, so I would have to reassess my assumptions. Okay, so walk me through, what assumptions will we have to, go back and audit and take a look at, where we could have possibly have made some mistakes.
Your terminal value growth rate.
Oh, I love it. So the terminal value, the growth rate, and anything else?
The beta and the kappa.
No, let's stick with the terminal value, let's not jump around too much.
The
What? The discount rate? Okay, so the terminal G and the I, okay, terminal. Now, let's walk through this correctly. If that's the case, did I underestimate the growth rate? Test questions. The terminal value calculation, did I over or underestimate the growth rate?
Over.
Did I over, if I overestimated the growth rate, wouldn't the terminal value be higher? Yep. So did I over or underestimate the growth rate? I underestimated. Okay. And on the discount rate, did I over or underestimate the discount rate? Did I over or underestimate the discount rate? If the discount rate is high, what happens to the terminal value? If the discount rate is high, what happens to the terminal value? Goes down. So did I over or underestimate the terminal value, the discount rate? I overestimated. Okay, what other variables within the process could I have made my mistakes? What other variables were part of the factoring in doing the investment analysis or the investment underwriting?
The perpetuity.
Yeah, but tell me about the variables. I'm not talking about the models.
The beta and your kappa model.
Okay, so if I'm coming up with the cost of the equity embedded in my discount rate, if I'm using the expected return on the project, but could the expected return also be the weighted average cost of capital if I'm a publicly traded company? Yeah. So if I'm estimating the cost of the equity, what are the variables in the estimate of the cost of the equity calculations where I could have made a mistake? Okay, do the data. So let's just go through it. What variable? Using CAPM.
Risk-free rate.
Okay. And on the risk-free rate, did I over or underestimate it? If I overestimated the risk-free rate, then my discount rate is higher, so what happens to the terminal value? Where the value
Goes down.
goes down. So did I over or underestimate the risk-free rate? Did Did I over or underestimate it?
Oh,
Overestimated it. What about the beta? Over or underestimated it? Over or underestimate the beta? Overestimated it, okay? And did I over or underestimate the return on the market? Over, okay. Excellent. Excellent. And if I was calculating the cost of the debt, well, we already know I overestimated the risk-free rate. What else could I have overestimated in my debt calculation? When you're determining the cost of the debt, or the expected return on the debt, you start with the risk-free rate and then you add what? The risk premiums. Did I over or underestimate the risk premiums? Did I over or underestimate it?
over.
I overestimated it, okay. And then if I'm calculating a weighted average cost of capital, could I have made a mistake on the weights?
Mhm.
Yep. Weight of the equity and the weight of the debt. Now, did I overestimate the weight of the equity, or did I overestimate the weight of the debt? Which one's more expensive, the equity or the debt? Which one's more expensive, the cost of the equity or the cost of the debt?
Dead.
And now, the debt has the tax shield, remember? Because you can deduct the interest on the bond payments.
So the equity.
So you probably overestimated what? The weight of the equity. Okay. All right. And then what other variables? We're still missing a few. I'll give you this one. This is going to be the expected return or the WACC. We'll give that to you. Now, did we overestimate the expected return or the WACC, or underestimate the expected return or the WACC? On the discount rate, did we over or underestimated it? We overestimated it, okay, excellent. One more variable. Cash flows. Cash flow levels. Could we have underestimated the starting year cash flow? Yep, so the level of the cash flows. One more. What about the cash flows?
Growth.
The growth rate. Did we over or underestimate the growth rate in the cash flows? Underestimated, okay? Bad news, people. We audited everything and it's correct, okay? So we got one more shot to get this thing done. What is it?
Real call.
Call.
We gotta calculate the real call option. And what is the value of the real call option gonna be? Equal to or greater than? Equal to the 11 million. Okay, and if the real call option is equal to or greater than or equal to the negative net present value, then what is the net present value equal?
Zero.
0. Do you accept or reject it?
Accept.
And if the value of the real call option is greater than the negative net present value, what's the net present value?
Positive.
Positive. And then do you accept or reject? Accept. And then lastly, if the value of the real call option is less than the negative NPV, what's the net present value?
Negative.
Negative. And if it's negative, do you accept or reject?
Reject.
Reject. All right, that's all you can do. I think that's all we can do.